This is my neighborhood. It's the Cape Girardeau County Juvenile Office, Juvenile Detention Center. And swing you through here. It's Cape Girardeau City Hall, Mayor's Office, Engineering. City Court is up in that building. Then across here is the Federal Building, where Judge Stephen Limbaugh holds court, District Judge for the Federal Court, this part of Missouri. And come through here, we have what's called Happy Hollow. That was an ammunition dump during the Civil War. Union soldiers would come up, bring ammunitions off the steamboat, and it's where a lot of the Western campaigns were started, was right here. It's an old cave, old spring. The building came down this past week, built in 1969. Over there is Indian Park, where Louis Lorimer had a Indian trading camp. It was also used during the Civil War as a soldiers' encampment from soldiers coming up off of steamboats. The area in there was my garden. I grew everything from tomatoes to collards, and greenhouses were in this area. Of course, here are the implements of destruction. This is the pile. It's like not much to most people, but in here I see all kinds of things. I see pieces of doors that were slammed and locked and bolted and held kids from 1969 up until 2012. Security lights on the outside of the building, which were very important because this little detention center sat in a very unprotected area, and we had people outside it at all times. So pretty tough little spot. Looks like they've left some wall here, one of the cells, probably part of my office right here, because for a 5-year period I struggled with the management of this building, and so I just moved right down into a cell block as one of my offices. Ran the whole structure from the cell. So took back control of what was not being ran very well. See some security screening there. That screening, the white screen, was put up when a young man decided to shoot his girlfriend in the head just over on the other side of Indian Park there. And we didn't have any screenings on our windows at all, and had about 250 people in the park that night screaming, "Let him out, we're gonna hang him right here." And we held him in there with police officers overnight until we could come up with another detention center to move him to. And the following day we contracted and had these metal screens put up. I think some of my staff have taken these to make barbecue grills out of, but there were so many on these windows, there's still a bunch left. A lot of broken doors through here. The wiring, when you build a building in 1969, other than a few 110-volt cables, some 220 I suppose, but there's not much wiring that goes into a structure back in the 60s. But over time we had cables, wires, stuff run to run computers, more electrical lines laid. Our whole attic was just full of wires, and every once in a while you'd smell smoke up there. Put hatch covers on the roof of the building so firemen could go up and in easily, because we just never knew what was going on in the attic. There was so much wires there. Here's an old door that's taken a hit by the backhoe. This is it. This will be a green space, seeded in about a week or two, and the county is going to try to sell it. This building had a lot of black mold in it. It was hit by a few earthquakes, so foundation had been cracked, concrete, brick had cracks in it. I think it was probably a good move to get rid of it. Another reason I'm kind of glad it's gone is, of course, this is where one of my only deaths occurred in my career. Had a young man hang himself in this cell block right over in this area, and just the idea of having this gone, destroyed, over with, so we can move on to more human policy, I suppose. I think we held 350 kids a year in this facility. Without a detention center, I'm transporting about 35 kids a year out of county. And so I think not having it here makes the police work harder, makes them work smarter. I think it's a really good move for a city to try this for a few years. Let's try to run this without locking kids up. That's basically what we're doing. So the sound's the same. The birds, light traffic. Listen to a few kids playing. This was a good neighborhood. It was a good neighborhood to work from, even though we were doing pretty sordid business. Pretty quiet place.